Hello, everyone, and welcome to Edge Talk Radio. I am Angela Zabel, that's me, and today I am here with Dana Louise. She is an author and she is from Minnesota. She is going to be talking about, this is going to sound weird, an awakening memoir, her book. So definitely this is going to be a lot of fun for people out there. If you're on an awakening process and want to hear some other people's experiences, this is going to be a fun one. And with that, who am I? I am Angela Zabel. I am a teacher, coach, medium. I have connected to spirit and have been working with the team in the non-physical my entire life. I am a I am a teacher, coach, medium. I'm also a radio show host, writer, retreat host, gallery reader, speaker, and I also offer guidance and mediumship and intuitive sessions online and in person. I also have the Amplified Universe membership. This is about who are we? How did we get here? Where are we going? How do we understand the world around us? And what is our role in the world? So join me and you can find out more information on that on angelazabel.com. You can find me also on pretty much all the social media aspects, and I work with people around the world. And today we are here with Edge Magazine. Edge Magazine is the leading events and media resource dedicated to all aspects of holistic living, health, and wellness, and the mysteries beyond, sharing information, wisdom, and resources, committed to promoting all that are here. They are currently distributed in 30 states, and here's an example here, 30 states and Canada, with over 17,000 magazines per printing. They have a vibrant online presence and with over 42,000 people reached per month. And if you want to have the magazine shipped directly to you, you want to become a drop spot, so go ahead and go to their website, edgemagazine.net, and everything they come out in printing, there's so much more online. So make sure to check out their online presence. So make sure to go to edgemagazine.net. And today we are here with Minnesota native Dana Louise. She has been an experiencer since birth. For her entire life, weird paranormal and supernatural beings have visited her. She suspects that she was placed into a shadow government program because of her father's involvement with the military, politics, and the supercomputer. Or was it her gifts? Over the years, she has become a wife, mother of two sons, Reiki master, teacher, and past she was a food truck owner, a level 2 TFT practitioner, which is tapping, a moon dancer, death doula, and reality show finalist in Norway, and so much more. And as far as psychic abilities, she has them all. So make sure to check out her book. This is going to sound weird, an awakening memoir. And also, you can find more about her at danalouise.com. She's also on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and X. So definitely check out Dana. She has so much to offer, and I can't wait for you to hear more about Dana today. So, Dana, as this has started, I want to thank you so much for coming on the radio show with me. And as this started, you didn't start out in everything weird. Who was Dana before, and how is she different now?
Um, who was Dana before? I was the mom, going to work, supporting my husband and my children and everything. It was compartmentalized, and that was my safety zone because since birth, I was visited by the Greys. And even in that moment, I was in my crib and I remember it. I write it all in my book. I'm just going to keep it short for right now because, like, if you can imagine being visited by the Greys is like the least of my stories. And I have two other species and stuff like that, and that's way more interesting. But they visited me until I was probably about 10 years old, and I think another the long stick guy was visiting me, and that's you can see those things kind of in communion. I haven't gone out there yet and done all that or supplied that information or anything. But anyway, so here I was, this child, blah blah blah, having all these weird experiences, but there was something about me that knew that normal people don't talk about it. So I compartmentalized it because I didn't see it out in the world. I'm not seeing the Greys. I'm not seeing all this weirdness. And so, it's hard as a child and a baby, toddler, child, teen, all these things to be like, oh, here's this reality. And then I have to walk around like normal, because it almost felt like being normal was like being shut down, like being like, just closing it off. But that's like closing off all of the whole spiritual world. It's just closing that whole thing off. And I looked to church, the church I was going to, and I don't mean to insult other people or anything, but as a child, like this is before the preschool. Well, I mean, remember going to the church as the preschool thing. And I don't know, how old are you? And I just walked in and I was like, oh my God, this is all wrong. This is just wrong. Because I was awakened, when you meet the grace and you're in your crib, there's just, I kind of feel like in your psyche or your synapses or whatever, when you're facing death or something like that, like I knew it was wrong. I think that wakes you up. I think you're just like you're firing on everything, because these might be the last moments of your life, where most children are very bucolic. We just get to roll around and suck their thumb. But for me, and then when I got, when as I grew, my mom would always, say, a nighttime prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. And like, I don't know, maybe it's you, but like that freaked me out. And like, who's the Lord? Is that like God and Jesus? I don't know. Who's this Lord guy? I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Oh, my soul. If I should die before I wake, I mean, that was real for me. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I was like, wow. So these are this is how I grew up. There was this Dana, and then there was the Dana that had to walk around in public and just be normal.
That's a big switch, and
Yeah,
knowing things don't feel right and knowing you don't agree with it. I've got to say,
right.
when I was little too, I walked in also to a church. Nothing against church. There's some
Right,
beautiful
right, right, right.
information in there. There is absolutely beautiful information in there, but some of it just didn't sit right and some didn't seem right. And I remember arguing with adults saying, but that isn't right. That part isn't right.
Right. It's the whole thing. We believe in the visible and invisible. And so in my book I write, like, I was at the cookie hour, and at the after the service, and we believe in the visible and invisible. This was their creed. And I would like talk to the adults and I'd be like, ghosts. And I'm little, I'm 4, I'm very precocious or whatever. No one believes. And I'm like, wait a minute, the Holy Ghost, and still nobody believes. And I've gone through many, people like ministers and priests, and like, Holy Ghost, man. And I'm like, no one believes. And I'm like, this is real. This is your job. This is spirituality. This is real. And, just for your viewers or whatever, yeah, the afterlife or whatever spiritual, it's real. This 3D seems less real to me. I don't know.
Absolutely. And the communication that happens with those on the other side, and
Right,
just like, and but in all realms, and that's the thing,
right,
it's all realms. And like
right,
for you, your communication started with the grays right away when you were
right.
younger. And for me, I had people playing cards around my bed, and they were all the card tables were floating around the bed, and they were all dead
Oh
people
my
playing
God.
cards. So for
How
you, it
cool
was
is
grays.
that?
But everyone's experience is different. And I think
Oh my
that's the
God.
really cool thing with what you're doing with sharing how the awakening memoir, how it's like it's going to sound weird. It's because there's experiences people can have that
Right,
seem like nothing anyone's ever had, but
right,
everyone's different and unique, and to embrace those experiences and what can we learn from them? And for you,
right.
when you experienced the grays when you were younger, were you frightened of them? Were you more of like, oh, this is what's happening? How was that for you?
Um, I guess, okay, so my first memory, and I'm in the crib, okay, and I think, swaddle, like baby, infant, and um the curtains are on a magnetic pull. Back in the day, like long time ago, we had these curtains that were like a big piece of paper, and you pull them up and down, and the curtain went up, which is what woke me up. And as a baby, I'm like, okay, the parent, the rents, like the adults are going to come, and no one came. And I looked over to the curtain, the window, and there was this gray bubble balloon head looking at me and kind of smiling. And there was like this light going around in the room. And then there was like this scattering in the room and stuff like that. Faces coming over, faces, gray alien faces. And I black out. And so it's like, that's not right. It's kind of like what if a burglar came into a baby's room? Because it's like they're burglars. They're unwanted. They're peculiar. No one's talked about them. I don't know what's going on. It's the wrong hours. Just like so many wrong, 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 wrong. And even for an infant baby, I knew it was wrong. And as a baby, I couldn't express myself or say it. And when I got to the point where I could express myself and say it, I tried to with my brother and sister. My brother was 14 years older than me. My sister was 7 years older. I was just kind of like, whatever. Nobody was listening to me or paying attention. But it was just kind of like, I'm a witness, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, I'm not seeing other people talking about it. It just seemed wrong that somebody was coming into my room in the middle of the night. It was upsetting. And so that there's that PTSD, there's that thing, there's that layer of like this compartmentalization. Here's what's going on. Here's your reality. This is real. It felt more real than the 3D walking around stuff. That seems to me more like sleepy time, because it's like, ooh, we're not thinking about things. We're eating Doritos. We're watching football, whatever. Like that's more sleepy time. This stuff will wake you up.
No.
And I knew that. And so how do you walk around like that? And I'm like, well, I have to keep this secret. And I don't mean to be rude in this moment, but it's kind of like, how people are abused. Children are abused. And it's very sad. It's going to make me sad. I don't want to talk about that, but it's kind of like it was a different form of abuse. And I kept it secret too, because I knew no one would believe. There's just something innately that I knew no one would believe me, because it just seemed too weird.
And that's so true. There's so many experiences, as I've worked with people too, is there's so many experiences they've never shared with anyone because it seems so out of the ordinary, so out of the ballpark that it's like there's no way this could be, and no one's going to believe me.
Right.
So for them, and a lot of times, just like you said, sometimes it's frightening, it can be
Yeah.
fearful. And to be able
Yeah.
to talk to people, to bring it out in the open, I think is so important. And that's why I'm so glad that we are talking and bringing this out in the open now so people can hear and go, oh, there's other people having these weird experiences. Maybe mine isn't so weird. And so I have a team on the other side and they're kind of laughing. They're saying some of the people are going, oh, well, my weirdness isn't even as bad as that weirdness.
Oh, and I get more weird. I mean, the weirdness goes, yeah, yeah. So come on down the weird trail. Like, no, and that's good, because now I'm finding community. You're bringing community. You have a community, and just people, please know, this is more real galactically, soul wise, spiritual wise. This is the real deal of what's really going on. This whole
Yes,
3D thing, going to work, punching in, that's tedium. That's not real. That's not reality. And that's not who you are, because we are whole, holy humans. Just always remember that. You are a whole, holy human. You are a perfect being, and you are complete. There's nothing wrong with you.
absolutely. And I think that's something important for people to realize when they're having all these different experiences, to know you're having the experience because you're so much more than human. I call it your multidimensionality. You are
Yes.
connected to so many different dimensions, and
Yes.
it's being open to go, what other dimensions am I connected to? And then also realizing a lot of that connections is for you to understand who you are, for you to
Right.
help awaken, but also to help you on your path, to help you live the life you're living. It's not meant
Right.
to be kept completely separate, but instead to bring them together because there's so much information and so much support and so much expansive understanding. If you're willing to look and say, what is it that I can discern? What can I understand from this? And how much that helps so many people. And for
Right.
you, as you continue to go through this, and there, you said you're coming out of the cosmic closet. What
Yeah.
was the catalyst to bring you out of that cosmic closet? Was there one catalyst, or
Yes.
was it in things? Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Because your guides were talking to my guides at the same time. So they were convening and blah, blah, blah. So I write about it in my book. So I'm saying, I've been told for decades, oh, first of all, you got to write all this down and blah, blah, blah. And oh, the Minneapolis astrology group, like they put it up at like, there's my star chart. And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to write a book. All of the readers, like, you're supposed to write this book. I'm like, what am I supposed to write this book about? I was coming up with things, blah, blah. So then one day, for the millionth time, I'm watching Harry Potter. I'm downstairs, it's Sunday, folding laundry, whatever. I'm watching Harry Potter. I mean, seriously. I mean, like it's on, whatever channel all the time on cable. And
No.
I looked at it and I went, okay, Dana, because like in the past, like with the grace, I would try to forget. I would forget, I would put away, like forget, forget, forget. And all of a sudden I'm looking at him and I'm going, Harry Potter, my life is more bizarre than yours. And that was huge for me because I'm like, everybody thinks Harry Potter is such a big deal. And I'm like, no, Harry Potter, I've gone through the same stuff you have. And that's not weird. And then my little voice said to me, well, so if you think Harry Potter is this big, like, then come out with your story. This is your story, Dana. Wake up. Do all the, like embrace all these things. Remember, 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 remember. And I was like, oh my God, if I'm like dissing on Harry Potter, then maybe there's a story here. And then I had to look at my sons. I'm like, I'm getting old, and so are they. And they don't even have really girlfriends, and I don't have grandchildren, not to like diss them. But anyway, so like my grandmother died a couple of years older than what I am now. And I'm like, I would have loved to have talked to her. That might not happen with my grandchildren. I got to write this stuff down. And what about my great grandchildren? Because I want to know about my great grandmother. So I started to write this stuff down. So it was like, okay, for my descendants, for my sons, for my descendants. But then I'm like, for all of these readers and psychics who have told me you're supposed to write this book, I'm like, okay, I'm writing the book and Harry Potter, whatever. So I had to accept it. So that was the critical moment. I'll never forget. I'm like, okay, all right, now I gotta admit this shit. Sorry, excuse me, I swore. But I'm like, now I gotta admit it. All right, okay. Time to sit down. And so I got a flatter, fatter butt. And then COVID happened, which was like perfect. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I manifested. Like everybody's shut down. So like this felt to me like God saying, sit your butt down and write this book. But I mean, I started before COVID, just so you know. I started
Right.
before, but it was like so
You
perfect.
didn't do it. You didn't do it
Yeah.
yourself. There was
No, I
others
know.
at
But I
play.
was like, no, this is the perfect moment. This is perfect in history, blah, 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 blah. I'm not coming up with like whatever, some other plague. Some guy came up with some mathematical thing, whatever. But I'm like, now's the time. This is perfect. And so, I had sold my food truck because I'm like, I'm gonna follow my path. I've been put on this, after Harry Potter, I've been put on this path. It's pretty huge because I kind of kept saying like, oh, everybody else has had this stuff done, right? Everybody else has met vortexes and ghosts and, all this kind of, like the plethora of the paranormal. And I'm like, no, Dana, actually, that's probably not true. Like my friends are weird, but the rest of the world, so how can I bridge that? How can I tell my story? How can I do it in a welcoming way? So literally when people read my book, they're like, I can hear your voice, Dana. I can hear your voice. Because I write it in Minnesotan, I write it with the colloquialisms. I write it as if I'm talking to you, that we're coming together because I want to make a friendship because there's so much discord in this world and we need to be united. We need to be united as humans. This is very important for us to unite in love. And I speak about that in my book too. Like we need to be united. So come
I
on,
think
come on.
I think that's something so important for people to realize. We do need to talk. We need to bring this stuff out in the open. And my team is bringing up, just as you had mentioned about abuse, how you're working through abuse. And a lot of
Mhm.
people are working through the experiences they had when they were younger and not fully understanding them, not understanding what was the meaning behind them. And this is a time to bring that out, to talk about everything. And, that's how it helps. That's how healing starts, is when we talk about things and to bring
Yeah,
this to the open. That's
right.
huge.
And the thing of it is, a lot of people, I firmly believe, here's the difference between me and you, whoever other person, you might not remember.
Right.
That's the problem. I believe there's an army of people that don't remember. I think maybe my spiritual gift is that I woke up and I remember an awakening. I woke up and remembered. That's what makes me different, other than others, thousands of people who don't recall, who didn't have a window shade flip up, who, were frozen and blinks out. I guarantee you there are teams and teams and teams, thousands of people around the world that don't remember. And there's the disclosure that happens with the CIA in shows like Netflix and TV and blah blah blah. I mean, they're showing us that. They're like, I was just watching a show recently, and the people in the house didn't remember that they were being visited by grace and stuff like that. And I think that is so true. The difference between me and you, dear watcher, listener, whatever, is that I just remember. That's all. You didn't. I mean, you can if you wanted to. That's a different thing. But it's like I think that's the difference. I don't know. I'm
I,
blabbling.
I agree. There's a lot of people who don't remember, but I
Yeah.
also, there's something you brought up, and then my team is wanting to go back to that. When you mentioned watch the shows, watch the movies, watch everything that's out there, you're
Mhm.
going to see so much information. A lot of this is,
Yeah.
they're just saying, is put as they say, fiction.
Right.
It's not so much fiction, but is
Mhm.
instead based on reality. And to realize, to watch this information with a
Mhm.
different perspective and saying, asking yourself what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and ask
Yeah.
yourself why it's on all the media shown in front of you. There's a reason. It's so you can also help remember who you
Mhm.
are. You're getting told the information. It's, are you
Right.
willing to hear it?
I'm gonna like add to that because I'm being told to add to that. So in my book, like so here's the thing. We watch TV. Okay. So when I grew up, like I was born in the 60s and stuff like that. When I grew up, it was kind of known, or it was disclosed that there was subliminal things. Okay.
Yes.
And we kind of knew that, especially there, like at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, the flag went up or the flag went down at like midnight because we had like three channels,
Right.
and
Yeah. Yeah. For
flag
those
went
of you,
down.
we're not aging ourselves. We're just saying there was only three channels at
Oh,
one
I'm
time.
aging myself. I'm old. And I'll be 62. Anyway, so it's like, okay, so so we were told in the 70s, and so, oh, there's this subliminal stuff. So I'm gonna tell, because like I write about this in the book. I'm gonna two things, because I watch a lot of shows. I'll watch Netflix, I watch some things, and I watch it for disclosure because there's a lot of evil in a lot of these shows. Okay.
Yes.
There's a ton of disclosure, and yes, you should watch that and know that this is our new temple. Movies and TV shows are programming, they are our new temple. However, they are programming. And so have discernment, like, especially like I'll watch some ghost things or something where like they're bringing in a negative energy. You need to be mindful about protection. So if you want to watch these shows, because I was just watching how Prince was talking about he wouldn't watch negative shows, and I've been told this for decades. Don't watch them because then they're forever in your psyche. They're in your head. Don't watch them. I, as a witness and a protector, and a system buster, I do watch, but I watch with protection for
Yeah.
some of these shows, like the ghost shows and things like. I watch for and I protect myself. because you don't want that coming into your house and your room. Now, other shows, when it starts to get violent and everything, just you need to understand, be a witness, have protection, but it's also great information because they're disclosing what's going on, because literally the CIA controls the media, and the CIA is the shadow government. And I'm going to get in big trouble for saying that, but this is very true. And so think of it as good or bad. I try to stay in non-judgment, but they're showing us what's really going on. So you can sit there and be about a superhero, but I'm going to tell you, you are a superhero. You do have spiritual gifts, just like, I don't want to say Superman or whatever, but you as a whole holy human, we need to remember that we have gifts. We are superheroes. You are a superhero. So just be mindful of what you watch, because that is what you're imbibing on. That is your frequency that gets stuck in your psyche. So if you're just learning, be a little careful, but always ask your guides and everything for protection if you want to be a witness and learn. Just know that the TV shows and the movies we are watching, this is disclosure. Now, we do have a choice in disclosure, because we can go down a negative path or a positive path. And we are really at the crux of that right now, especially with AI. So the future can be, how is that going to look? And we've been fed this mechanical AI construct. That is a lot of what the movies that we are watching seem and feel very negative to me. I don't see a lot of trees and grass in these future constructs that we are being fed. So please, in your mind, you can watch and abide, but it's kind of like a buffet. Be mindful, have a little more salad, keep it a little more green in your daily life, and stay positive vibes, kindness, unity. Don't think, because if there's a bunch of us manifesting, thinking, manifesting negativity, mechanical future, AI, whatever you want to call it, that can come to fruition because it's humans creating it. You are a creator. So create beauty. Be Bob Ross. Make those pretty little trees and those pretty little clouds. And seriously, I know that sounds contrite or trite or whatever the word is, whatever. But seriously, you are manifesting. Please, let's not manifest this mechanical AI realm. And I heard that there is going to be divergence. There's going to be a split in people, that whole Mandela effect. Stay with the beautiful green, the farms. The pharmacy is the farm. Stay green. Let's manifest that. Keep your vibration that way. And it's very important. Because right at a crux right now. Don't entertain. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to think like, oh my God, it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, seriously, for 20 minutes, that's freaking fun. I love it. Excuse my language. But I like Doritos. I like my glass of wine. I like taking walks. I like toilet paper, all these things. And if you're going to have a zombie apocalypse, that, like that stuff is going to go away. So stay positive in your vibrations, because we are manifesting. And that is what the overlords, they want us to manifest this, because this is, I don't mean to, the Antichrist. This is satanic. This is bad. This is not good for humans. Not good. This, beautiful. And that's what we need to manifest. Like, let's, through our hearts and minds and spirits and souls, let's manifest this beauty. And that is that's what we have to do. And so when you're out there and you're at Target and you're kind of getting frustrated, take it down a notch and send love and spread your positivity, because we are all little positive generators. And just you flowing with your positivity wherever you go, it's going to change the world. That's all you have to do, is just raise your vibration, light and love.
And that is something so key for people to realize, because a lot of people feel they don't have control over what's coming up and that feel like we've been in chaos for a while, and to realize that chaos is there to create change. What
Mhm.
side of change do you want to be on? And this is a time for everyone to really look at, what do I want coming forward? What do I want my world to look at? And hold that vision, hold that in your heart,
Yeah.
because it is so important to realize all of us hold the power. We all do. And when you realize that, and when you hold that intention for the world, the intention is what you need. Hold the intention. Instead of seeing the world as you might be seeing it around you, stop for a moment, take a breath, and just visualize how you do want to see the world, and put that intention out there, not only for us that are here now, but for those going forward. How do you want it to see? How do you want it for the next generation and the next generation? How do you want to see things?
Mhm.
Put that intention out there.
Mhm.
And my team is just saying the intention is so important. How you do it doesn't matter. You can do it any way that feels right for you. If you feel like it's prayer, if you feel like it's meditation, if you feel like it's visualization, whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. It's the intention behind your thoughts. That's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah, 100%. I think people get caught up in like, oh, this ritual and that. Oh, I forgot to light the candle at this time and stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna say for the people that are Christian or whatever, did Jesus walk around with crystals and stuff like that? I'm like, was he concerned about all that? No, 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 no. Did Buddha, were they like, were the masters, the avatars concerned about all of that? No, they just did it. And you are whole and holy as a human. That is my thing. You are perfect in perfection. You are whole and holy. You can't screw up anything because God's not going to make us screw up. Like you are beautiful. I'm just, oh, you are beautiful. You are beautiful. And just know that, know that, know that, know that. So it doesn't matter. You can be bewitched. I'm like, I dream a genie. Like so many people are like, who the hell, excuse me, is bewitched and I dream a genie? But I'm like, I grew up on those guys, and it's very true. And I was kind of thankful for those, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's so hard to manifest. So no, 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 no. That's that 3D muddy thing. Higher frequency. When you remember the day that you skipped around, you were so happy about something. Bring that into your heart again. Hold that vibration, find it again. When you're at Target and you got your little card, like do the whole like, like skip it on your like with the card and have fun. Have fun. Fun, fun, fun. Find your frequency. Light,
I-
light, lift up.
That's
We
something.
take this world, we take living too seriously.
Yes.
Too seriously.
And we forget to have the fun. We forget to look for the joy. We forget to give ourselves the time. 'Cause honestly,
Mhm.
we're usually so busy. We're running, we're doing this, we're
Right,
living life, but we
right.
forget to put that time aside.
Mhm.
Let's go have some fun. Let's sit outside. When's the last time anybody on here skipped? When's the last time you took the time to just skip? I love to skip too.
I love to skip. I do it. Oh my God, I soar. It's amazing. Have fun. Be that little child because children are curious. Children get it. And so I go, bring back that child because a lot of us have damaged children, inside of them. Like we were, hurt. Everybody was. That's everybody's story. Have a little time with that person, that little person. Do something fun for yourself. Like it's great to take a bath and everything, but be silly, chuckling. That is the bubble. That is the bubble, the frequency, the God source thing. That is the highest thing. And this is the thing that dissipates this negativity, these wars, this hatred, this separation that we have amongst people. I am so sorry. I mean, this should not be going on. I mean, and I always laugh because it's like, oh, once the aliens come down, who matter? It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what color you are. If you're gray or green, that's what we're going to be thinking about. And in a way, that's true. And we are just stuck in these stupid divorces of other people. It's like, stop it, stop it, stop it. And the thing is, I go outside and I look around, and I've traveled wherever I've gone, I've just met beautiful people.
Yeah.
So where's all this negativity? It's being created. It's not real. It's being created because the oversouls, the overlords, they get their energy off of that. They get their energy off of big negativity, like that Monsters Inc. thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just negative energy. That is what they gig on. But us as humans, we are holy. And we need to remember that. Remember,
And that
because we'll win. This is the deciding moment.
And that's something so important when you're seeing the negativity on media, news, wherever, when you're seeing it, take a moment and stop and sit back and take a breath and look around your immediate area. And
Mm-hmm.
when you look around your immediate area, how many wonderful, beautiful people do you know? How many wonderful interactions have you had? How many beautiful spaces have you visited? Look at all those fun experiences and ask yourself, out of all of that, how much of that is negative right in your immediate area? How much is
Yeah,
actually negative? And a lot of
right.
times you're going to
Oh no, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I think you froze up for a second.
quit focusing on the negative and focus on the positive that's right in front of you because
Mm-hmm.
there's way more positive when you start focusing than you
Right.
could ever imagine any
Mm-hmm.
other way. And
Right.
they also wanted to go back to one thing you said about when you start awakening, when you start opening yourself up, everything is available. How do you protect yourself? What do you put around you? How, and my team is kind of cringing a little bit on protection aspect because I don't want everybody to be fearful.
Right. Right.
Instead,
Right.
to
Right.
look about intention is everything. And they would just want me to share. For me, my intentions are always I only work in love and white light. I work with those that are going to help me and the people in front of me. And I work with nothing less. Put your
Mm-hmm.
intentions out there. Just like you wouldn't walk into someone's house that you don't care for. You don't ask them to walk in your house either. So put your intentions. I'm only going to work with these people, with these beings, and I work with
Right.
nothing less.
Right. And I should add, like, okay, because like it's a crypt note or whatever, like my protection thing. I put a glass jar bubble, or you could think about Star Trek or whatever. My protection thing is like a shield, but it's like light and love. Everything can come in. All the love can come in, and any negativity just can bounce back, go to the source it was, or something like that. So for me, because there is negativity out there
Yes.
and evil, and we need to be mindful of it. So it's just for me, like as I move through the day or in the morning, like brushing your teeth, I just put up I go shields up, like Star Trek, and it's just like light and love, all love and stuff, but a mirror of anything negative. Um, some people have their karma whatever. It's kind of like I put clothing on. You don't want to see what's underneath here either. It's kind of like the same thing. So it's just hygiene. It's just
Yes.
hygiene.
And it's nothing to
Let's
be
look at it as
fearful.
protection is hygiene. You know, because we wear masks or some people wear condoms. It's hygiene. And I was like, just protect yourself.
And that's the thing. It's nothing to be fearful of. It's just something that
Right,
and
right,
that's the thing for people not to walk out in fear. Negativity is going to get me. It's like, no, just put up whatever works for you where
right.
I can walk around. I don't even have to worry about it. And I just go
Right.
about my day. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the
And
big
that's a
thing.
good point. Just not being like in fear. Like don't bring the fear in. You need to like that's a really, really good point. Like that is kind of my point is like don't stay in like sorry, I hit my microphone. Don't be in this fear because I'm like, wait, I'm like I'm Italian, but I'm Norwegian German, but I'm Italian. But anyway, um, yeah, don't be in this fear. That's the thing. So yeah, trip lightly, trip the light fantastic. Just la 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 and stuff like that. I mean, literally we have to do the work. We have to do our shadow and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about protection. And literally it's like, it bounces like what was that thing? Bounces off of me. I'm rubber, you're glue. It bounces off of me, it sticks to you or whatever. Just make it a joyful thing. It doesn't have to be hard, but just be, our whole thing is we are trying to raise the vibration of Gaia and we are trying to raise the vibration. And there are other forces that are trying to negate it. And so, on a daily level, we need to just be mindful of protection and not allowing this negativity to seep into us. We have our own. We can generate it on our own. I'm telling you.
Oh,
I sleep at night and I'm like, oh, like there's all these negative voices or something. We have our own negativity, but it's the negativity that's outside in the world, how that's expressed. Just, have that filter, have that discernment. It's a filter. It's a filter. It's discernment of this is negative out here. I don't need to be imbibing in that. I don't need to be taking that in. I'm
absolutely.
not taking that in.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important for people to realize. Don't be fearful of it. You don't
Yeah,
have to take it in. Do your daily living and don't
right.
worry about it. And know that you are, by doing so, you're spreading your own positivity. You're spreading that positivity to not only yourself, the people around you, but the world as a whole. And that's something so huge for people to realize
Right.
the impact they're having.
Right.
And the thing is, you've had impact, talk about impact. You've had a lot of different things that have impacted you throughout your awakening process. And could you share some of them that maybe were a little negative at first, but then maybe you understood them a little better and realized it wasn't as negative, or were there really not anything such a negative connotation, or was something that was fearful to you at
Hmm.
first? And then
Okay.
as you
Yeah.
looked at it differently, going, oh, that wasn't fearful. Now I understand it.
Well, I mean, just everything. I'm a big chicken. Just so you know me, I'm a big chicken. And so to be fair, because I was talking to my younger son who was born on 11/11. Okay, I'm like, he's amazing. I mean, both my sons are amazing on various different levels. But we were talking about the grades, like what are they? And he's like, well, mom, maybe they are humans in the future and they're coming back. They need something and blah blah blah, whatever. So it's just kind of like when. So for me, in the middle of the night, for most of my like these, I wake up to something very crazy going on in the middle of the night. Like, it'd be great, but it's kind of like as if all of a sudden jugglers broke into your house during the day. I'm like, that's kind of how my nights are. I mean, it's like, oh, we're juggling, and like, what's going on? But my knee-jerk reaction is that it's negative because I feel like I'm a cow. I don't know. So I'm out in the field and chewing my cud, blah, 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 and I don't know, the farmer comes in and his dog. Okay, maybe I'm a sheep. Okay, I'm a sheep. And, I'm afraid of the dog. I don't know what the dog is or what he's about. He's barking and doing all these things. And like the farmer has needles and oh my gosh, they're shears and oh, like it's just overwhelming. So we humans are a species, we are an animal. And so I just kind of like, I can see how animals are afraid of us. So there's these entities that are looking at us and I'm afraid of them. And that's not fair because I'm judging them and I don't know who they are because they didn't introduce themselves. So I don't know. Are you good? Are you bad? That's my discernment later on. I don't know. But when we're dealing with frogs or insects or something like, and we're doing little experiments or rats, we're not really telling them, what we're about or who we are, or they don't know about us and stuff like that. So I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Some things could be here for good reasons and to help us because I don't know. And other things are not here for good reasons and to help us. You know what I
That's
mean? To be
ab-
fair.
absolutely. You don't know what it is, and your first
Right.
instinct as a human, we have fight or flight in us. If we don't know what
Yeah.
it is, our first
Yeah.
instinct is to be fearful and run away, have that flight aspect. And this is knowing like, okay, I'm human, I'm having these experiences. What else do they mean? As a human, now you can stop and go, wait, I can examine this. I can look at it from a different perspective. I can take a different look at it. And I think a lot of it is that. And when you hear people being fearful with their first awakenings and things that are happening, it's knowing, yeah, because as a human, we have that animal instinct. Run away when we don't understand what it is. Be fearful because you don't understand it. That's our survival mechanism. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with that. But to look at it and go, okay, I was scared of it before. What made me scared? What part of it was it? Was it just because I just didn't understand it? And how can I understand it now?
Right. But I've had some incidents, later in life. I had an incident with some short, little, I call them Sigma and the Sea Monsters, but they were probably only about, like 2.5 feet tall or something, and they came with a tall stick man. Um, and those actually collected my DNA and my husband's in the same moment. See, now I'm going to clear. This is clearing. If you burp and or yawn, these are energy things. So it's very hard for me kind of to talk about that or write about it in the book because I know that they have my eggs and my husband's anyway, DNA. And it's like, what are they doing with it? And they said they were here to help the planet, you know? But I was like, I don't believe you. And I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. And what are you doing with my DNA? What are you doing? Are you helping the planet or are you doing something it's out of my control? I don't know. And so that's hard for me. That's hard because they have, like they have my children and I don't know what they're doing with it. And so that's why watching like the last few minutes of like that last year that I said to Spirit, show me what you want. I I was watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind and I was like, holy crap, there's the dude. There's the skinny dude. And there's these little alien babies coming out. And all of a sudden I'm like, I connected. I'm like, oh my God, I contributed to that. That was a disclosure. That movie was a disclosure. And I'm like, oh, I'm a part of whatever that program was. Those are my children essentially. And I told my kids, I'm like, oh, my kids, but plus their heads, they must think I'm crazy. But I'm like, hey, if somebody comes up to you and they look like your sister or brother, they probably are, you know? So I have reality and things to fear, but I don't want people to be in fear because this is the thing. And even though I have these issues and I have this, I can't be in fear of that. I have to be in, I am unknowing. I don't know. I can't live in the knee jerk reaction of, I can't live the rest of my life in the stress of what's going on with that. I have to be in the positivity. They said to me, we're here to help your planet. Okay. I wish you would have asked for volunteers. I wish you had me sign something a little bit. I wish I had some wine and steak, some flowers, maybe a massage. But we don't do that with rabbits or monkeys either. We humans have been pretty naughty to other species as well. So I'll
Absolutely.
stop right there.
And it's really just knowing we don't know all the answers. None of
No.
us do. We don't all know the answers. We don't know all the whole everything behind it. Because honestly, as the awakening process happens with a lot of people, you awaken to what you can understand in the moment and what you can process in the moment. And then more will come in. And that's why it's an awakening process, because
Yeah.
it has to be done in steps and stages. Because if you were given all that information, think back a few years back, and
Oh,
if you would have given all that information then, you would have just probably almost exploded. They're like the person who just everything's going inside, you're shaking, and then the confetti comes out. It would be
well,
overwhelming.
how many times have you read a book? I mean, like for me, I'll read a book. It's my 20s, blah, 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 whatever. And then, maybe 10 years later, I pick it up again and I read it and it's like, oh, I read that book before, and there's my notations and my dog ear, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I obviously read it and studied it, blah, blah. And it's a whole new book 10 years later. And then
Yeah.
20 years later, because I'm getting that whole, it's a whole new book. It's a level and a level and a level. And I love that. I love how we are learning and finding out and all these kinds of things. We are awakening, but it's kind of like the message was there in that book the whole time. But I can go back and back in that book and reread it and gain more and more and more and learn. And I think I enjoy that. It to me, all of these things, you can talk to the muggles and they're enjoying their sports and their Doritos, and so do I. But it's kind of like, and they go to the movie theater and they watch the superheroes, and so do I. But for us and your audience and stuff like that, we know we're on the other side of that. We know that these crazy fun things, interesting things, or whatever you want to call them, life is more interesting. The real world is more real It's more interesting. And everyone who's watching this right now, you are a part of it. And, just, go for it. You are a part of that interesting thing. You can be boring, but life is more interesting. And that's what Harry Potter showed me. It's like life is really interesting. It's fun. Get out there, stay positive, help create all these kinds of things. I don't know.
And really that's for people to understand. You're going to understand in levels and to know that's why reading a book or even listening, they're just telling me, listening to this podcast, to listen to this interview, watching it, you're going to pick up something the first time. You'll pick up something the next time. It's going to change every time you watch it because you have changed. Your level of understanding, your perspective has changed. So that's why you can watch the same episode and see something different. And they're saying even people who watch just regular episodes, like the episode of like Friends, you'll see something in it one time, another
Right,
time you watch and go, I never noticed that. I didn't know that happened in it. It's because
right,
you're at a different level of understanding. To know as all of us grow and expand, we're going to understand more and we can watch the exact same thing or listen to the exact same thing and hear something completely different than what we did before.
right. And that's cool. And I'm just gonna say, and for those that don't, that's their soul level, and that's okay. So don't be like, as you grow and everything, and don't, the judgment thing, like, oh, you're not growing with me and you don't understand with me, and you're still just watching football, whatever, and Taylor Swift, whatever. But I mean, and that's who they are. So, just this whole standing in judgment of I'm growing and learning and you're not, blah, blah, blah. Just, do that for yourself, because that's for yourself. That's your own bubble bath. You know,
Yeah.
how many people do you invite into your bubble bath? Don't do that. Really
Very,
weird.
very
You know,
true.
yeah, I'm like, but just like it's kind of like as you go on your path, that's your path, that's your soul path, that's your privacy, and you can share it. I'm kind of doing that right now, but it's kind of like don't if somebody else is not there yet, that's fine. That's fine. You can help them when they want help. Blah blah blah. Pick a flower when you want to. Blah blah blah. But don't be judging if somebody else can't hear it, can't see it.
And
It,
that's
it might be too much.
right. And that's something for people to understand. And there's a lot of people who have, it's kind of funny how relationships, you have people in your life where they aren't at the level you are. And not that there's a level, like a level of good or bad. It's
Right,
not
right, right, right.
anything like that. Don't think you're putting yourself above others. You definitely are not. None of us
Exactly.
are. This is
Right,
just understanding their level of understanding is at a certain level and
right,
to not judge them for being at a different level of understanding. There's nothing
right,
wrong with that because otherwise, if everybody was on the exact same level of understanding, how fun would that be? It would be
right.
pretty boring. Everybody'd be the same. Everybody, why would you want to do that? So
Well,
embrace it.
it's like if you're a teacher, like a kindergarten teacher, does a kindergarten teacher look at her students or something? Not that like we're all like teachers, whatever. But I'm like your level of understanding, like or a mom and dad, and you can write and you can read. Do you sit and judge your children as they're trying with their crayons to write? No, you don't. You don't judge them. You encourage them, you love them, all these kinds of things. And that's what we have to be, is encouraging and loving and opening and all these kinds of things, and not be in judgment of, oh, I've learned this much and here's who I am. That's all ego, 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 ego,
Yes,
and that's edging out God, or God
absolutely.
out.
Yeah. So as you've been through, you seem a lot very confident in your who you are and your abilities now. Was there a time when you weren't as confident, and how did you gain that confidence for yourself? What along the way, how did you help gain that confidence in who you are?
Well, I just kind of knew that I was like a character, and I kind of loved myself. I'm like, okay, we're messed up. This is crazy. So let's just kind of like, I had to embrace it to love myself, apparently, something. But it's like, I remember getting a reading one time, and this woman was like, you manifest everything you want. You know that, right? And again, I was like, meh, benighted, like, meh, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I do. Like I had to accept that part of myself. Like I can manifest things. And it's just kind of yeah, I just Every day I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, you again? You keep showing up. We should probably get along. I have friends, but you, oh my God, you, okay. And that's been hard. I've had to look in the mirror, and be like, you're okay. You're good. Like, I know who I am. I love myself and I know how I am and all these things internally and stuff like that. But it's like, there's other voices that get in your head or of judgment or something
Yeah.
like that. But and even if you've been the worst person in the world, I don't even care. Just for today, decide to be different, decide to skip, decide, bring that child back, bring that innocence back. Because I'm going to tell you, as a death doula, right before death, right in the final moments, the final hours, and I don't know if you've been blessed, any of you have been blessed to witness a passing. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to get teary eyed. But you will see the person revert, and you will see the child, and you will see the innocence. You will see their soul. You see the innocence come over them. And that is truly who we are. That is truly when we drop our ego, and we are truly who we are. And that is the blessing and thing. And that is what we have to remember about ourselves, is our innocence and truly who we are. Because this culture, especially in the United States, it's just so hard hitting, and that's why getting out, hugging a tree, hugging a tree, eating greens, watch your diet, watch your thoughts, watch all these things, take care of yourself, because you are the unit. This is the spaceship that your soul travels around in. So, you can get on, whatever airlines you think, ooh, this Boeing, whatever, is pretty bougie. That's your body. That is who you are. Incorporate and love your body and your soul and everything about you, because we can love other people. But it really comes from here. And when we really, really love ourselves, and I want you all to love yourselves, because when you really love yourself, you're going to exude that, and you're going to spread that, and you're going to share that, and you're going to send that message to other people so they can love themselves, so that this hate and negativity, because that's what they want. They want us to be on Facebook and all these things and hating on each other and singing each other. No, 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 no.
We
Sorry,
definitely
I
we
get off.
we
I'm off my
definitely
soapbox.
I think it's a good subject because we definitely need to build each other up and we need to build ourselves up because so many people, they're more than willing and more than happy to talk about other people and how good they are and all the good stuff they see in them. But then when they look at themselves, all they see is negativity. They see something wrong with them. And this is a time to know there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely everything right with you, but can you see it? Can you see it? And take that time to look in the mirror. And sometimes that's the hardest thing for people to look in the mirror and say, I love you. I'm
Mhm.
so proud of you. I love who you are. I love who you've become and embrace who you are. That is so difficult for a lot of people. But if
Me.
more people would start doing that,
Yeah, me. I mean, I think I was probably 55 years old and I was like, oh my God, shut up. Shut up. Because every night I went to bed, as I was trying to go to sleep, it was like everything negative. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not this enough. You're not negative. Oh, you said this. Oh, you did this. All these negative things. And I just was like on and on and on. And I just had to say, oh my God, if one of my dear friends said this about themselves. Like somebody said to me, I made a comment and about myself, and they said, "Don't talk about my friend Dana like that." And it
mm,
kind of shook me. And then I realized, like, I have, you know, I have a good relationship with myself, and I love myself, and I have fun with myself, and I'm very playful all day long. But at night, when there's in the darkness, I would sit. There was this voice that told me what a horrible person I am, and I'm like, I'm not horrible. I don't hurt people. I don't. I try to raise people up. I'm like, oh, what is this voice? And I feel like this. It's just some infiltrating evilness or something, and it's not real. It's a false voice. It's false and it's fake. It's
abs-
fake, and you
abs-
don't listen to it. I'm like, what do happy people think? What do happy people do? So because I've gone through eating disorders and all that, PTSDs. How could I not? I've been, subjugated to aliens all my life, so I had these issues, and self-hatred. But I'm like, no, no, I'm a good person. I don't hurt people. I just had to start from there. I'm like, this is false. This is fake. And I'm sure there's so many people listening right now, like, same thing. You're a good person. And, don't listen to that negativity. I think that's why a lot of people are hurting themselves and committing suicide and doing the things that I did, eating disorders and that. That's self hatred. We have to get out of that. That's being fed to us. That's negative. That's evil. That's not us. That's not who we are
And
as
I think that's very important for people to realize, and maybe to make it a practice at night. And for some people, I've worked with some people where, and I couldn't find anything good about myself for a long time. And it's taking the time to write down what are good things about me, and having a list, because sometimes you can't even see that, just like the levels of understanding, you can't see it about yourself. So take the time to start writing a list and add to it all the time. And when those thoughts start coming in, to stop and go, wait, I've got a list. I'm going to start reading down that list so you can see yourself in a totally different light than what you've been putting yourself in. And I agree, it's been programmed into us to have these negative thoughts about us, but we can, we understand it. And because that, we can change our perspective, and we can change the programming. And any program that's been there can be changed in an instant if you're being vigilant and you're being conscious of it, and you can change all of it.
right. Because is it true? No, it's not true. It's a lie. And that's what evil is. It's a lie. You know, yeah, it's negativity, and we need to discern these voices that we're listening to. And I was like, shut up. I'm like, I know, like they say hurt people, and that can be true. But for me, hurt people don't want to hurt people.
Right.
That's how I am. I've been hurt. I don't want to hurt people because I don't want that to roll down the hill. I don't want to. I'm going to stop that boulder. And I think that's where everybody that listens to you and watches and follows you, they're wanting to stop that boulder of negativity and hurt and all of that, and ancestral things, and change that script for the descendants. You know what I mean? We're at that precipice. We're at that point of switching all that. And that is very powerful. So how can you not say you're a superhero? Because if you're stopping the negativity and trying to bring in love and kindness and understanding, that's huge. That's everything. And that's where we have to be.
And that's something I think you just touched on a point. My team is just saying you just touched on a point where a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, hurt people don't want to hurt other people. And because of that, they will do anything they possibly can to not create any negativity or hurt. But in doing so, they take it too far and end up hurting themselves and allowing others to hurt them because they don't want to portray the hurt. And this is a fine line for people to work through. And my team is also saying this is a fine line that can't be answered in one sentence. It
Right.
needs to be something to be investigated, and to look what's best for you, and to find the best ways for you, to go with what feels good for you, to know that that journey is going to be individual and unique to you. It's not going to
Right.
line up with someone else's.
Right. And I think also, I'm hearing that, because with the aliens, I took it. And so then that plays out, as an adult and a child, growing up. I was the kid that people would beat up or whatever, and so I took it, and that's the thing. We don't have to take it, because then that's ownership of ourselves. Like, I'm a good person and I'm not hurting other people, and I'm not going to allow you to hurt me too. Because I mean, I will stand up and protect other people. I'm the person for the underdog. That is me. But I didn't do that for myself.
Yes.
because I just took it. I took it. And that was a gateway and a door to allow other people to hurt me too. And I didn't understand, like, well, there's a capacity I have for being hurt. Thank you very much. I'm at my limit. I'm at my limit. And so then that's where it's like, okay, you know what? Then you have to love and accept yourself. Because literally growing up for me, all of these things, these interruptions and things like, and I'm sorry, there's ghosts, and there's a plethora of paranormal and supernatural. It's not all negative. Like, you know, angels have been in my life and stuff like that. So it's like I had to start loving and living my life. And I think that so many of us, we just walk through it like ghosts. We walk through it like physical 3D ghosts. And and then you can become a ghost. But it's like we have to wake up and start to see, smell the roses and all that kind of stuff, and just and love yourself. That's the whole thing. That's been the biggest journey for me, is loving myself.
I love
So
that. I think that's a big journey for a lot of people, learning to love themselves, learning to
yeah.
accept who they are, and learning, and that acceptance is also, you talked about the spirit, the supernatural experiences you've had, even loving yourself through those to know this is happening to me for a reason, not to make me feel different, not to make me feel like an outsider, but there's a reason behind it. And when you had the supernatural experiences, can you share a couple, maybe an experience you've had with the supernatural and how that happened and what you gained from it?
Well, two things come to mind real quick. I'll be real quick with one. One was, I call them awakening dreams or something, where you're in the etheric, but it's real and you're pinging on all cylinders. And I was brought up to what I'm only can call heaven. I couldn't see anything. It was cloud. I could tell that I was surrounded by people. I could tell that there was a space and there was other people. So I could tell like I was on a street almost.
Right.
And I could hear some things down this way. And it was a cacophony of music. And it was like this distortion, but beautiful all at the same time. And this litter, a litter like you put people on, not litter like a litter box with a kitty. But it was like this thing, and it was like coming towards us, and all these people, and I couldn't see who they were, or beings, whatever. And this person being next to me said, "Venerate, venerate," and I'm like, "Oh." And I know a lot of people don't know what venerate means. I studied, I'm Orthodox Christian, whatever, and so I know what venerate means. It's to bow down and give alms and honor.
Mhm.
And I'm like, venerate. So I venerated, and I couldn't see what I was venerating, and then I came down, whatever. And it ended, and like, oh my God, I was in heaven. And who was that? I don't even know, maybe that's part of the galactic thing. I don't even know. But so I'm like, oh my gosh, I was taken to heaven. What does that mean? Why was I there? Who was that person? All these kinds of things. Um, and just really quickly, another one was, and this happened in the Twin Cities, and I feel it's important because a lot of your audience was in the Twin Cities. So this happened probably 25 years ago. And like I said, the Edge had I'm sure had the ad, and it was also on WCCO to go to this spiritual event. So I went with my bestie, and this man, it was a weekend ceremony or event, and at the end, before we left, he's going around. We're in a big conference room, like a Hilton or something, big major room. So there's a lot of people there. And he's like, look into my eye, look into my eye. And he starts here and he's going around. And I'm going to my friend, because like I'm really kind of dense. I just admit it, blah, blah, and whatever. She's like, oh, do you see it? Do you see it? I'm like, no, I don't see it. What's going on? And then I started to see him transform. He holographically shape shifted. And I didn't realize, that's, if you go through the centuries of aliens and stuff like that, they shape shift. Okay? They shape shift. Look it up. Google it. Anyway. So he comes around, blah, 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 and he comes to me. And oh, so he's shapeshifting. He's like, oh, he's doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I'm, at the beginning of my spiritual journey, and books are starting to come out because back in the 90s, we didn't really have the internet. It was just kind of being created. It looked like stupid pages, and you're not learning a lot. We're learning so much more right now. It's so
No.
fantastic. Anyway,
Yes.
I digress. So he comes to me and I'm looking at him. He's, like I'm in the back of the conference room. You know how that is. And there he is. I'm like, I can't even see your eyeballs, dude. How's this going to work for me? Blah, whatever. And so he's like, and I'm like, okay. And then, oh my God, the gloves came up. He's shape shifting. He's like a little lady. He's a soldier. He's got a gun. He's got a pitchfork. He's got this, that. And then the room disappears and he's in a cabin, or we're in the mountains, or like we're in the ocean, like the whole freaking room, all of us, everybody. For me, that's what I saw. Okay. And it went on, and it was heart, and like, oh, boom, boom, shape shifting, boom, man, woman, old, young, all these kinds of things. And I'm like, and after a while, I was like, I couldn't stand it. And I'm like, I had climbed up on my chair and I'm kneeling on my chair. And I'm like, can't take it anymore. And I quit it. Like, that's it. That's it. I can't do it. I looked at my girlfriend and I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, did you see that? And she goes, everybody saw that. And I was like, oh, shit. Because I was thinking this was between him and me. And it wasn't. The whole room did see it. And the whole room was transformed. And for me right now, I'm really trying to explore. There's a number of stories like this that are bizarre, crazy, weird. Um, I don't know. And I was a little upset because I'm like, he didn't explain the situation. So to me, I'm like, okay, well, that's a stupid parlor trick. If you can't explain it and we can't work with it, or what, then you just showed us a stupid parlor trick. Why did you do that? And I called him, over the years, and he wouldn't explain more and stuff like that. But I just felt like this was something that was unlocked inside of me,
Right.
a part of me or a part of him. I don't know, but it didn't happen with other people. So, that's another area of separation. I feel separated because, like, even his helpers were like, backing away from me like I was a pariah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just the Shoreview mom that was sitting over here 2 minutes ago. Suddenly, now I'm a pariah. Great, here I am again. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, look at me. No, I'm like, great, I'm separated again. What does this mean? I want answers. I don't know about the rest of anybody else. I want answers. And the problem is with this realm, we don't get them. That's kind of like one of the hardest things because, like, I like answers, and maybe I'm a scientist, in a certain aspect, and I had to come to the conclusion that I'm not going to get answers. It's kind of like being ghosted.
Being ghosted in the spiritual world.
Yeah. Right.
But it is,
Yeah.
there is going to be experiences. I've had different experiences too. The explanation behind it, there's really not the explanation. Sometimes it's for you to have the experience, just the experience to know
Right.
you're something more than just human. And I think that's what a lot of it is. It's having this really sometimes cool, sometimes like what the heck just happened type of stuff, and
Right.
just wondering like, but the biggest thing is it's so you know you're more than just human, and there's
Right.
something more to keep discovering about you.
Right.
And
And
that's the
yeah,
biggest thing.
I don't think I'm special. I think the problem is people have been told a lie that they're not special, and that's the thing. And that's how we're waking up to know that we are special. And that's why I keep saying, whole, holy humans, you are perfection. As I do, so can you do also. Isn't that what, those are Christian? That's what Jesus said, and other avatars. It's like, yes. And that's what we need to wake up to. Because if we know we have our own power, the powers that be can't enslave us. And that's what's been going on. We're being enslaved, and we need to wake up to that we have our own human rights. So,
Absolutely. And it's something more and more people are waking up every day. People are understanding and maybe not waking up to the whole gamut of it.
right.
And, you and I and other people that are maybe listening, everyone's still learning. We're going to be learning. I always say, I'm going to be learning till the day I die. And
Mhm.
I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. And I'm going to just keep learning and keep understanding. And once I cross over, I'll understand even more. But for now, I'm
Right.
going to keep learning and have fun with it and understand more of who you are. And these crazy, funky experiences we have, what a great way to show you, like, oh, you are more than humans because we forget. We're going around our regular lives and we
Mhm.
forget there's so much more to us. There's so many
Right.
more pieces to us. And
Right.
I think that's
Well,
something
yeah.
so important with your book is showing people there's so many more pieces to you. Are you willing to look? Are you willing to open the book? Are you willing to see what else may be there for you?
Right. And doesn't that lift you up just to know, like, I mean, because we have this 3D world that's like Doritos and toilet paper and going to work. And I mean, and that's all great. But then we sit and watch movies about other people having epic times. But if you could just stop for yourself and then just realize when you start skipping and hopping and hugging trees, the magic starts to happen, synchronicities start to happen, and all of a sudden you're in the movie. Your life is a movie, and you can control it, and you are creator, and all these things. And then, like, wow, you spread that, and you engage it with other people, and you help them out, and that's how we spread our form of whatever you want to call it. But I mean, like, isn't life more fun doing that? Or do you want to go slugging it back at your, you could work at Cub Foods and that's great, but have fun with it. You could have so much fun. Isn't that the spark? Isn't that what TikTok people is like? They're showing you people that are having fun with life and great expressions. We are there's nobody saying you can't do it. Do it, color your hair purple, have fun. That is the whole thing. Because when you're 90 and you're sitting in a chair and don't you have limitations and you can't go out and express yourself much, or you can't get that Claro box of purple number 3. you know Now's the time. If you want to time travel, there you are. You're 90 years old. You can't do it. You're still young now. So choose all these things. As long as you're not harming somebody and you're having fun and bringing up a vibration, every day should be a celebration.
I love
Just
that.
try to raise that.
I love that. It should be a celebration you hear, a celebration to, I don't know what's going to happen next, but oh, what fun it could be.
Yeah.
And,
Ping, I
and
woke up again. Ping, I'm in
yeah,
my body again. Wow, what can we do? This is fantastic. And it's not about money. Kindness, opening up a door, paying it forward. It's not about money. You could be broke as a joke, because I've been broke as a joke. You could be just broken. But when you start reaching out and doing fun and expressing yourself and having joy, that's a vibration. That's a high vibration. And the universe will come back to you with more vibrational things. It's fantastic. It's whatever.
absolutely. And that's something that's important for people to realize. It doesn't take money to do. It's as simple
Right.
as saying hello, opening that door, doing those simple things.
Mhm.
That changes the world. Just that alone. Think of the times where you yourself might have experienced something where, oh, somebody said this to me or somebody helped with this today, and it was so nice.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
right there. It's right there in front of us. Are you willing to step into it or not?
Yeah.
And and that does bring one other thing. We talked about community. Have you found other people? What are ways you found people, or are you still looking for people? How is
Oh,
that? Or
okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to be real and raw here. Um, I'm finding a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but like such as podcasts or something, I feel like I feel like there's a lot of people out there that it's like they feel there's a limitation, that like the universe has just $1 billion and that's all that they have. They don't understand that it's unlimited. They don't understand that, oh my God, if my friend does well, I do well. That's that ego thing, that negativity, like, oh, I can't give to that person, I can't mentor them, I can't support them because that takes away from me. oh my God, they have a pizza parlor, so I can't have a pizza parlor because they're doing a pizza parlor. My pizza parlor can't compete with their pizza parlor. No, if that makes sense. It's
Absolutely.
they have these negative, limited things like, oh, here's this person, like such as yourself. You work with angels and ghosts. Like you could look at me and go, oh, she works with angels and ghosts too. I'm not gonna talk to her because she might take away my thunder. The universe is
Mhm.
unlimited. It's unlimited. And so if we all rise up, that's my whole thing. And I have felt, I see these doors shutting and I'm kind of like, what? And that has been my prayer. I'm like, let me find my tribe. Let me find the people that I love and the people that love me, the people that understand me. I understand them, because it's water seeks its own level. So I am a Minnesotan. I'm a people pleaser. It does break my heart. It does hurt me when the doors close and stuff like that. Because like, what can I do? What can I do? Can I bend over backwards? And I just have to trust that God, source creator is guiding me. I gotta stop my control issues of like, oh, please like me, and just let the world expand on its own like a flower and stuff like that. I can't force it. I can't force you to love me and my Lefsa, whatever.
And I think that's the key, though, is really accepting yourself for who you are. And when doors close in front of you, it's for a reason. There's a reason that door is closing. You maybe shouldn't have been in that door to begin with. So look for another door. Don't look at it as something you did or something your energy did. It messed them up and it's none of that. There's so much more available. And it's you being willing to go, you know what? I'm going to look for another door. And that's okay. And
Right.
knowing, yes, the competition and the lack and people look at one of the things my team is just bringing up. They're saying so many of you humans say, I want more money. I want more of this. But then you look at someone who has more than you and you go, I don't think it's right they have that. They shouldn't have that. Why do they have more than me? You can't hate what you want to become and expect to become it. You can't do it. And
Right.
there is no limitation, there's no lack. It's our own perception.
Mhm. Right. And I found that grace um of kindredness. I don't know how to express it other than that. Like at all levels, I know very wealthy people, I know very poor people,
Yeah,
and I know people in between. And it seems like it's the in between people that can't decide or something. Like the people who have nothing are just so grateful and they're gracious and they're giving.
yeah,
But I also know people, like climbing. It's the strife. It's just the strife instead of unfolding. Because I know people who are very poor and they speak so kindly about other souls. Just amazing. Makes me cry. And I know people who are very wealthy and other people might judge them,
yes.
but their vibration is so high, they're not judging other people either. So we really have to be mindful of this ego, and that's the hook. That's where they hook us, through our egos of you're bad, you should be doing this, and there's fear and all of these things. So if we do all vibrate, just try it, because it's you're not going to wake up every day being happy. I'm sorry, you're just not. And so just, yeah, wallow in it, whatever. Just don't self-harm or harm others. Just understand that's the shadow side. Embrace it. Sit down with it. Listen to it. What are your issues? Let's clear them up. Let's talk about it, and how can we raise that and make it better. And that's healing. That's what healing is. And so, you know um people with smaller minds or whatever have smaller conversations. Try to be generous in your conversations and your openness to new things, you know and
Absolutely.
yeah.
And have you found that this journey of going into the weird and the awakening and all the different experiences you've had with with the aliens, with the angels, with the other all different metaphysical aspects, have you found that even through this journey, has it changed your life to the positive going forward? Has it helped you more than hindered you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like I just discovered pickleball, about a year ago. But yeah, like so people, could take me in the wrong thing because I'm playful and positive or whatever. But I mean, like a lot of people come up to me and they're like, I've never had so much fun playing pickleball, because I'm like, I'll joke and have a good time and all these kinds of things because it's like, well, why be negative? Like, that's just not who I am. I don't understand that. And so I think has opened a lot of doors for me. Probably part of my manifesting is, at a this higher energy level because it's, that's where my realm is. And I bring that wherever I go with people, and it wakes them up, so it's kind of like that has been the biggest thing or gift for me is just being this playful because I read it a long time ago in the Bible. It's like only through the eyes of a child, and I took that to heart because I was a child when I heard it or read it, whatever, blah. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not a child anymore, but I do see the benefits of how, and for my own children, they brought me the gift of loving life because I could see it through their eyes, like snowflakes or grass or the holidays, like how aware and the wonder for them. And it's like, yeah, that's God, that's source. That's where we need to be in this wonderment. And
Yes.
so that's where I try to be. Now, is that upsetting for other people because that clashes against them because they really love their negativity? 100%. Now, is there a lot of Dana that sits there and is like, oh, I want them to be my friend. I want them to like me and stuff like that. That's control again, you know? And I can't do that and I have to let it go. And yes, and through my journey of coming out of the cosmic closet and trying to get on podcasts such as yourself, I'm going to find, venues that this isn't my story, my words, what I want to offer isn't going to vibe with them. And I start to take that personally, and I'm trying not to. So this is a big growth thing for me is coming out and talking and communicating. Because here's the thing, I've put myself out there. I've put here I am. And the problem is it's a one-sided conversation. A book is a one-sided conversation. And now I've given to other people everything about me and I don't know you. So literally I feel fragile. And it's like I just look for good friends. They're like when they come out, oh, I read your book, you know, and I look for that smile and that knowing and stuff like that. And that's I know there's gonna be trolls out there and they're probably paid to do it. But so that is the thing for me, and it helps me be stronger to be stronger in myself of like I know who I am and I know I'm a good person and I know I'm trying to help people. And so this negativity, I can't listen to it. I've done that. I've been codependent. I am codependent. I am a Minnesotan. But like I don't I can't take it all. It's
And
a
that's
it's a big world and I can't, it's like okay, you know, they're different, they're a different vibe, okay, go bless your head. All right. So,
absolutely. And move on and don't worry about it. And no, you're not going to vibe with everybody, and that's okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
but it's still hard for me. Just to be honest, it's still hard for me. You know,
And
I
it,
just want love. Love. Anyway.
and that's good for people to realize. It doesn't mean as you're going through this journey, like, oh, everything's perfect and there's nothing to grow, nothing you have to work on. There's
Right.
always something to work on. There's always something to make yourself feel better and understand more about yourself. That journey doesn't stop, but to have fun along the journey, that
Hmm.
helps.
Right. I think about like Emma Bombeck or Brene Brown and stuff like that. They're showing their vulnerability, and they're showing that, yeah, people can, um, have opinions about them or something. But these women were essentially, whole in their hearts about who they were, and stood strong. And I'm trying to find my strength too. I'm not perfect and I know my weaknesses and I get hurt and all these kinds of things. And I'm trying to be strong. And I think this is an important message for your viewers and listeners. I'm struggling. Like, don't look at me because I wrote a book and I'm trying to get out there that I'm like any different than you. No, It's just that I got put on this path and this is now my job, my job. And so this is my job. And so it's no different than being a food truck owner or slinging hash or, whatever it is. Don't judge that, and whatever you're doing is perfectly perfect and you can be beautiful and just, I don't know.
I love that because so many people look at people like you and I where we're doing this and we're out in the public and they're like, "Oh, I want to do that." And you're so much better than me and I'm like, "Your job is just as important. There is no difference in importance as far as the job." And for
Right,
people to realize everybody is just as important in the job they're doing and what they're doing. It's just what we chose to do at the moment, but that
right,
doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever either. We may be doing
right,
something different later. Who knows? The life
right,
we've just started, you know? It's
right.
part of the journey.
Right. I waited for my children to grow up and all these kinds of things. I mean, because I can't imagine doing this and trying to raise children and get to the basketball courts and school things. That is just too much. That was overwhelming. That was my focus. And that's where my heart and attention needed to be to raise these other humans and stuff like that. So that was important. Now that is, I'm older, more retirement age. I'm playing pickleball for God's sake. Nobody would believe that of me. Like, Dana, you're playing a sport, but I want to live till I'm 95, or 105 or 125, and so I'm taking care of myself in that way. But it's kind of like now is my time. I've done the work and I've done those things, so I'm able to come out and do these things.
Yes.
Um, but I'm not different. I'm not different. Whatever has happened to me, I'm not different than anybody else. I'm because I wanted to be normal and all these kinds of things, and it's just I know I'm a human, and I know I'm normal. I couldn't accept that for myself, and it's been a journey, but I'm no different than anybody else. It's just that different circumstances happen to me. It's like
Yeah.
maybe you've never been in a car crash and maybe somebody else has. What's the difference between those two people? Nothing. It's just what happened.
Absolutely. And I love that. And for people to look at themselves, there's no difference between any of us. We're all the same. We just have different experiences. Other than that, we're all the same. It's our experiences that are different. It makes everyone's different experience unique, which it should be. Everyone's journey should be unique.
Right.
Embrace that and don't judge yourself against anyone else ever.
Right. Yeah. Just because I crashed my car and I can tell you about it doesn't make me better than you.
Right.
Right? I like,
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the thing, we need to, like, word it differently, but it's just the same thing. And to everybody out there, you are whole, holy human. You are perfect perfection. Don't forget that. God didn't make junk, whatever you want to call God, source creator, blah, 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 blah. Or maybe there's nothing. Maybe you don't believe in any kind of God, and that's perfectly fine too. And whatever it is that you are or think you are, you're great.
Yes. I like that. No judgment. No
Yeah,
judgment on anything. Whatever your beliefs, whatever your thoughts, no judgment. And just
right.
embrace who you are.
Yeah,
And
and go out there and live it because nobody's telling you not to. Like, the thing is, when people die, like, look at all the like, people who've had near death experiences, MDs. Their first thought is like, why was I so fearful? Why did I stop? Why, like I said, that 90-year-old person, you want to time travel? You are the time traveler right now. You are back in the day. You are the 30-year-old or 40-year-old, or however you are. You're not the 90-year-old. You have the power to move and make changes and live your life and talk to that 90-year-old like, well, should I ask that person out? Ask that person out. Go for it. You know what I mean? Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm weird.
I always say there's nothing to be sorry about, and people should stop apologizing for themselves. They really should, because why? And I think that's also part of the programming, part of what's put in us. You need to apologize, and it's like there's nothing to apologize for being you, and
Right,
people just have to.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Dana,
So, I mean, like, meeting you, It's just like, I know you're going to open a door meeting you. We're going to be friends. Somebody might find me on Facebook and I'll be friends with them. And then, like, next thing you know, I'm going to be having coffee with one of your listeners right now or watchers right now. It's like, it's amazing,
The
and
connections,
that's a gift.
absolutely, the connections that are made, and don't think for a moment the connections aren't always being made. There's a connection somewhere that's going somewhere. You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know the answers, but do you need to? Why not
Right.
just have fun on the journey?
Right. Right.
Well, Dana, I want to thank you so much for being on, and I had amazing time talking with you, and I'm sure sharing everything with the listeners and those watching. It's going to be so helpful to so many people out there, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And
Oh,
thank you to everybody. And I hope to see you in one way or another. I want to do some book signings or blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm creating my life right now or on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. But thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to everybody for listening. I mean, you've taken some time out of your day. I appreciate that.
oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dana. And I just Facebook, YouTube, and X. So make sure to go out there and check her out, follow her there. And you're going to get something amazing out of this book. And that I know. It's definitely, this is going to sound weird as a book for all of you to check into. There's so much information. We can only scratch the surface today. So definitely go in and check that out. And with that, I just want to thank you so much. Thank you again, Dana, for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for sharing who you are and your heart. And I also want to remind everybody, make sure to check out the next episodes of Edge Talk Radio. They are the first and third Tuesdays of the month at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you ever miss an episode, no worries. Go ahead and go back. There are available as downloadable podcasts and pretty much all of your podcast aspects out there, Apple, all the other ones out there. And you can also go back and watch on YouTube. All the past episodes are on YouTube. So check them out. And some of them, I do encourage some of them that really need to be watched. And you get to know the people I'm interviewing. So definitely take the time to do that. It's well worth your time. And I also want to encourage all of you and to be there to check in with yourself, love yourself, and enjoy everything about it. And with that, I want to thank you again, Dana, for being here. And I want to thank all of you for listening, expanding, and amplifying our universe together. Thank you so much and have an absolutely amazing day.